Today we take control of Deathmaster Snitch. Yes, yes! Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamers Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. We are going to be playing Total War Warhammer 2, and we're going to dive into a new Mortal Empires campaign. This will be my first time sharing any of my gameplay with you fine folks here at YouTube, but I hope you find it to be enjoyable to one degree or another, and well, I'm doing this because I am working on talking about Shadowrun. I've got it right here, but I've taken a couple of runs at it today trying to polish it up, and it's just not quite where I want it to be, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time, a little bit of work, try to put in some, not that I don't put effort into anything I do, but I want to make it so that it comes out at a good quality, and I'm not sure that it's quite there yet, so that's the reason why that's not up yet, and why we're taking a break from fixing D20 Modern, is I want to try to do some other things. I want to talk about other games that are not just set in the D20 universe, and Shadowrun is thoroughly unique. I love everything about it. It's a nice blend of cyberpunk with that high fantasy twist to it. And speaking of high fantasy, I'm trying to decide who I want to play as today. I've really only beaten Mortal Empires with Karl Franz. And that was fun, playing on hard difficulty. I like to step it up a little bit, but gosh, there's just so many good choices here. You know what? I think Deathmaster Snitch might be the way I have to go. Go with a hard campaign, hard battle difficulty. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Let's dive into this and see. Start campaign. Try as they might, no one ever really knows the precise location of the elusive Deathmaster Snitch, save for Snitch himself. That is exactly how Grand Night Lord likes it, keeping Clan Eshin's enemies squinting at the shadows in fear. The current rumors echoing around the Under Empire is that the Deathmaster is somewhere in the vicinity of Noblar country, but, as with all Snitch's shady affairs, his exact purpose there is unclear to all but him. The Skaven are so much fun. The Ratmen, I despise them, but they're fun. Something to know about me: I tend to like rolling humans. I know. So boring, so lame, so vanilla. But, I don't know. The playstyle just suits me well. That tactical flexibility, that's typical in a lot of games. The ability to adapt, survive, overcome. All of those things. I just really enjoy having a varied approach. The ability to play, well, I'd say the Empire doesn't necessarily play asymmetrically, but the ability to quickly switch things up and adapt on the fly is great. They'll be out-artilleried by the dwarves,
elusive
but they
Deathmaster.
They can outmaneuver the dwarves with their cavalry.
Of your presence. Use the knowledge you have acquired from the east to secure these lands for Clan Eshin.
It's been about a year since I played with Deathmaster Snitch, so I don't know what they're like after all the different
savagery
updates.
Will not protect them from the blade in the shadows. See to their removal.
Ooh,
the Dragon
yes.
Isles to the south hide many powerful
Alice
monsters.
Darkblade.
Some
Your
unknown
rival.
in nature. Such threats should be dealt with carefully, but ruthlessly.
Excuse me. Not fully
The
recovered
dwarfs
yet.
dwell in the
Dealing
nearby
with a
mountains,
secondary
holding
infection,
out
or at least
against
trying
the
to prevent one. He's
greenskins.
got a lingering
Let
cough
them
that's
kill
concerned the
one
nurses
another,
and the doctor that I
then
saw.
take what is left
Unfortunately,
of
I've
their
had pneumonia
crumbling
twice in my life, so I'm
realms.
kind of prone to getting it anytime I have a lung
Send the
infection like
agents of Eshin
bronchitis.
out into the world, Deathmaster.
Very much a cause for
With the
worry,
weeping
unfortunately.
blades in
But
claw and tail.
kind of
You are
advocated
but
for
a
myself,
creeping
pushed through,
rumor
and
that will
doctor saw me. He's
cause
like, yeah, let's
all
get
to
you on some
fear the
antibiotics to
shadows.
get this knocked out. So thankfully, I was able to do something to try to take care of it. And really recommend everybody out there, live your lives, obviously, but try to exercise some kind of care. I know, probably tired of hearing about COVID and the plagues and all these awful things happening to everybody, but it's worth talking about and being careful with. Please take care of yourselves out there. The world can already be cruel and harsh enough as it is. Let's link him up in there. And let's show Elbog Core Lobber
I ain't doing that.
just how cruel the Skaven and attack. Oh, we get to ambush them right off the bat. Auto resolve, low casualties, close victory. Oh, I don't know about that. Let's see. We have Eshin Triads. Okay, so some sneaky Guandao infantry, armor piercing, warp grinders, armor piercing, clan rats with spears and shields. Ooh, gutter runners and night runners. And then night runners with slings. They're all missile infantry. Doesn't Snitch make his missile infantry, his night runners and the like, don't they get to be armor piercing? On top of being all sneaky? Yeah. Do I want to use menace down below? No, I don't want to do that yet. Let's fight this battle manually. You can never trust the balance bar, although they did away with the balance bar here. You still don't want to trust that entirely if you've never played these games before. This is probably Creative Assembly's best work, or at least in terms of unit variety, balancing out the factions relatively well. Siege battles are terrible in Total War Warhammer 2. Really, they only have up to go. But still, probably not what you want to go for. But unfortunately, siege battles are the most common thing for you to be doing. So they really need to fix that with Total War Warhammer 2. Let's put you there. Unfortunately, you can't really deploy much closer in Snitch. Let's get you right up here to get on top of that shaman. You two there. You two here. Spread out just a little bit. We want them to flank. And you are a wizard. So let's put you over here. You're a hero unit. We want them nice and supported. Gamble for more favorable wins. Let's do it. Roll those dice. See what happens. Does Ronald favor us? Yes. Fantastic. This, for those of you who don't know, this just means I can cast more magic. Alright, we're stealthy, sneaky, slaughtering little rat men, and we have them surrounded, the poor bastards. Now, if you're wondering why you can't see their full roster, it's because some of their units are also sneaky in their deployments. But we're gonna mess them up. Doo-da, doo-da.
Very well. Cash in triad. Warhammer time. Yes, yes.
Snakes, can't let him get away. Yeah, they might have gone all raw on me, but they don't have any chance. You guys, chase him down. Killed the enemy lord. Run them down. Well, kill as many as possible. Don't let them get away. My warp grinders took a little bit more of a beating than I would have liked, than I should have allowed, but I'm okay with that. Hit them with those magic missiles. Alright, we'll end the battle there. Decisive victory. Much better than the close victory calculated before. Lost 80 troops to their 255. They also outnumbered us almost by 100. Deathmaster Snitch only got 1 kill, but he killed the most important person. That does mean they get a fresh lord to support them later, but I'm okay with that because Snitch is a perfect character sniper. And really, he's perfect to go up against all these little goblins and orcs. He's just a cloud of death, but he is a little bit of a glass cannon, if I'm remembering right. Assuming things got changed, he might be a little bit tankier, but you catch them unaware and surprised, and you get him in the mix with a decent amount of support. Oh, he will murder his way through so many things. I think that went well, though. Great start to what will hopefully shape up to be a good campaign, as long as I play carefully, conservatively. Snitch has some great campaign mechanics. Now, most of his more advanced units that come from the other clans are going to be expensive, but that's okay. I don't mind that they're expensive, because there are ways of earning that. You see all this up here? Build up reputation with the clans, and their unit costs come down. They only need to be down just for a little bit for me to buy them. Yeah, let's eat the captives. More food will come. Unit replenishment's important enough. But I want to keep after it.
Marching.
Now, Route Marcher. Increase campaign movement by 10%. We can improve that, his spell, and begin accessing more spells, but I want scouting. Magic item drop chance is increased by an additional 5%. Worth it. Getting that up to 15% can rack up a decent number of items. Some people might disagree there, and I get it. I understand. They're probably opening up the spells is probably mechanically more beneficial, but I like gathering up magic items because I like equipping all my generals and hero characters quickly. Let's see here. What are my objectives? 4 settlements. Okay. Win 3 battles. Current total 1. Reach rank 5 with the following characters. Snitch. Okay. Destroy Red Cloud. On my way to doing that. Complete 3 missions. I'll have to get those. And perform 2 actions of the following category. Shadowy Dealings. Let's see here. These are those campaign mechanics. So, you can send out different agents, different hero characters and agents and generals and the like to perform shadowy dealings. And they cost different resources, either the available schemes or food. And you can do different things like overthrow lair, incite Skaven mutiny, sabotage, incite riot, steal technology, burglarizing things. That has all these different wonderful effects, but it takes some time and effort, and you also get clan contracts to fulfill too. This is how you earn and lose favor with the different clans. But for now, let's see here, troublemaker. Well, it wants me to do that. Let's see. Let's do a small heist, because money early is definitely a helpful thing. The only thing that'll mean is putting one of these guys out of commission for a little bit. So before I do that...
With the most skilled assassins of all Skaven, clannish, various clans seek us out for
I already
special...
explained all of this. We are going to send in the rats. And we are going to fight, and then we will send somebody off to do Shadowy Dealings. Decisive victory? Yeah, I'll go with that.
Break them. Yes. Yes.
Replenish our units. That army is now destroyed, and like I said, the food is coming. Can get more money, but that replenishment is going to be useful for attacking here. We're going to pop back over to our own border to put us in a position where we can restore. Oh look, Dawnstone. Gained a magic item. Let's see here. Looting. Ancient Cunning. Bonded Service. Ooh. Reducing recruitment costs. Definitely important. Because then we get Draft Master, improving the quality of the troops we recruit. Lightning Strike. Definitely important for Skaven assassins to have. And Quartermaster to reduce that upkeep. And then... also Renowned and Feared, which reduces upkeep and increases quality overall and campaign movement range. So this is definitely an important tree here. And then we have Mine, All Mine. Handy, appropriate, but may not do that this time around, because we want to improve our ability to deal death. And also reducing upkeep. Keep the money flowing in. Snitch, as you can see, incredible melee attack and weapon strength, but, you know, not the tankiest lord ever. But that's okay. Oops. Let's see here. Looter, bonded service, yeah. Reduce recruitment costs. Administrative effects. Now, since we're locked out of improving scouting, now we will improve the spell and gain access to all of these. Can worry about doing this later. He is tough enough to deal with most of those things, but that's not even going to be what he's worrying about right now.
Kill. Victory, yes.
Let's go a small heist against the Haunted Forest with Zapspark.
Blades hidden. Blades red.
Alright, small heist. Successful. 5 turns still. Excuse me till that refreshes, but that's okay. Let's go improve.
Well done, my lord. You have completed your first mission.
Did I say that right?
Clan Eshin's notoriety rises once more.
Now, here's the tricky thing. I'll want to unlock this troop chain here, but these are all low-tier buildings, and this is a settlement that can build up to a higher tier. These ones can only go up to 3, which is all we need to do these. So we're gonna go and unlock warp fire throwers and grinders, and these Skaven ranged units here. These will let us do death from a range, and will be a severe advantage for us early game. Clan rats, dime a dozen, disposable. Feed them into that warp grinder. Feed them into that bloodbath. They're easily replaced.
Sneaky snake.
Oh, yeah, got him back. Never mind. I guess that didn't put him out of commission. Okay, Toxic Rain. Reduce enemy effects. Skitterly. Target is hidden. Speed. Armor darkness. Missile resistance and armor. Veil of shadows. Causes no damage. Does not affect friendly troops. Definitely more status ailments and kind of some battlefield control and maneuverability. Ooh, Warp Fireball would be good, but that doesn't happen till level 8. So, huge stationary area of effect can disrupt unit formation. You know what? Let's go with Toxic Rain. Status effects are going to be very useful. Now then, research available.
Sliced from the shadow.
We can only do devious plans. Less upkeep for Skaven slave units. Recruitment cost 5%. Let's do it.
Ashen strike move. Ashen kill.
Recruit I can. I want some fodder. Disposable fodder. Skaven slaves are actually very underrated for their cost and their upkeep cost. I mean, you're getting, 105 slingers that all do that range missile strength. It's only 10, but 105 of them doing 10 points of damage. If you've got them aimed at, say, a giant or a manticore or some large single unit target that they can just start pelting, they can actually do some decent damage. Get a group of them all targeting the same large single entity kind of thing, they'll deal a crap ton of damage to it overall. And dime a dozen and easily replaceable, so if they get squashed on the battlefield, it's no problem. Especially not from a Skaven perspective, where life is incredibly cheap. My goodness. One thing that I actually really do appreciate about Warhammer Fantasy's lore is in particular related to the dwarves. I mean, they look very Tolkien-esque, but for anybody who's not familiar with the dwarves of Warhammer Fantasy, there's a couple of things that were turned on their heads in regards to dwarves that do a lot to shift what their culture is like. For one, dwarves have no concept of forgiveness. No concept of forgiveness. There's only debt and payment, and then grudge and vengeance. That's all there is. You either have a debt and you pay for it, or if you've so thoroughly insulted or caused injury to the dwarves bad enough, like in some fashion, like killing a family member, like you will get a grudge struck against you and they will pursue that grudge. If they can't find you, they'll carry out the debt against whoever your descendants are. And it won't matter to them that, it had nothing to do with it. Your family carries the debt stands, the debt has to be paid for. You're probably going to pay with your life, unless you can somehow convince them you can pay off such a grudge alive. But they've been pursuing you for 200 years. Good luck with that. So that puts them less from lawful good to more lawful neutral. Not that a lawful good dwarf in Warhammer Fantasy is impossible, but culturally overall, as a societal whole,
about the demonic power,
they are more lawful neutral, I would say. Probably in some cases lawful evil, depending on the severity of the grudge and how long that grudge has been held for, and the lengths that they will go to pursue that. Might be considered kind of callous and cruel to a large extent, but they're not doing it necessarily out of cruelty. They're doing it because this is a debt, this is a grudge. The grudge stands, the grudge must be dealt with. So the other thing is that their sense of honor is more expanded upon and capitalized on as part of their culture. Like, it's to the point that, take dwarven beards as an example. Dwarves place such a high value on their beards as part of their status and identity that they, for a dwarf to touch another dwarf's beard, you have to be beyond impeccably honorable and beyond impeccably skilled, making dwarven barbers a station of high honor and prestige. Like, a dwarven barber is just a vaunted, lofty position. Like, it's only the most honorable among honorable of dwarves. Like, on par with the High King's own personal bodyguard, probably. Like, one of his bodyguards is probably could be honorable enough to be a barber. Even then, that might be a little bit dicey, at least as I've come to understand it. And even then, the king's bodyguard is probably not going to be spending time cutting other dwarves' hair. If anything, he's probably only going to touch the king's beard. And he'll be the only one allowed to do it because he's the king's guard. He's not going to allow anybody else near the High King with anything sharp and pointy. Well, again, maybe a dwarven barber because they're so honorable, but we could talk and debate in circles around this. Entirely too much. Okay, so this predicted medium casualties and a great, excuse me, yeah, cough drop or something. A great deal of harm inflicted upon my army, but I don't buy that. I can't Vanguard deploy them or the slaves. That's unfortunate, but all these other ranged units I can. Let's bait them in. Let's have you. Since you can stalk, you are gonna flank attack. You are sneaky sorcerer too, so let's put you right there so you're in range, and you are a sneaky bastard as well. Everybody else, let's spread out a little bit. Let's hit them early. Draw them in. Oh, they're running. Well, that solves that. They're probably going for that hill. Okay. Well, in many regards, that makes things much easier for us. Oh, he's a spellcaster. Yep, okay. That was not ideal, but... Let's see.
Quick!
Hey, remember to run, guys. Okay, Skaven slaves. You go in. You first. I didn't give you further orders. Well, that's not good. My mouse went on me. Okay, let's slow that down just a moment. Get back over here. Round off on them. Slaves are retreating. I am not worried about that at all. Okay. Slaves are cheap. All I'm concerned about is making sure the army overall stays intact. How about all of you focus fire down on that bunch there? Okay. This is going well. The slaves have returned to the fold. They're gonna wog soon, but you, Snitch, get in there and deal with those archers. Come over here and focus fire on that. Get in here and deal with the bulk of those forces. Put them in the flank. They are all fully surrounded and beginning to break and retreat. And all of my units are intact. Hit that with a magic missile. Deal with those goblins, please. Ah, shoot. You can't. They're too far away, aren't they? Play at normal speed now. They're trying to come back, but run them down. Leave none alive. Good job, Snitch. Cut down their boss. Wonderful. In spite of my mouse dying on me mid-fight there, that went about as smoothly as I could have hoped. And did not suffer those medium casualties. Still took some. 140, but you know what? My army's intact, gaining experience and becoming ever more lethal. And Snitch is now on his way towards earning his legendary blades, which will make him a terrifying force upon the battlefield. If you'll pardon me just one moment, I'm going to grab some new batteries. I'll have to remember to edit that part out, but new batteries acquired. Do they have life? Seems like it. Only one way to find out, though. Freely moving about. Wonderful. Alright. That's the Red Cloud. Defeated here, new settlement claimed. Food, wealth, money, all to be mine. And we're going to recruit the settlement at level 2. So that way, we can have everything in place. Enemy killed in battle. Getter Ironjaw. Decisive victory. Got the Storm Banner. Very nice. Ride unlocked. The sudden kill scheme. What does that do for us? Missile strength. 20% for Night Runners and Gutter Runners. All armies. Speed plus 10% for all armies. Wow. Stock and snipe. We are not going to perform that right. We are not close enough to be fighting anybody. Oh, but we can take the Shattered Cove and Pig Barter and begin our fight with our neighbors to the south. And with that settlement recruited at level 2, or reclaimed and built up at level 2, we can begin building and expanding. For example, I mentioned this building chain right here, in fact. I only have to repair it and not pay the full costs on it. And I can start building resources to generate more funds and trade value. Oh, this is beautiful. This is completely fantastic. Look at this. Under Empire is expanding. Deathmaster Snitch is doing wonderfully here. End turn. What a great start to this game so far. Probably should have recruited some more troops, but that's okay. They would have just been Skaven slaves, and I'm not interested in having a bunch of those just yet. May as well save the funds. I don't have too many significant threats here yet. And look at that, lower cost for and upkeep for Skaven slave units. What other research did I unlock? Fighting dirty. Okay, boosting weapon strength and missile strength for night runners and gutter runners. Definitely something we want. Ooh, and boosting their experience ranks will be very useful. Excuse me. State of my lungs is very unfortunate. I don't enjoy anything about it. And before we do any underway nonsense, we're going to move and get into a better position.
Yes.
But we are going to do so in a way that lets us keep recruiting units. So these Ashen Skaven slave units, it's nice. Ooh, goodness, I forgot how expensive these were right off the bat. 2009, that's about the price you get for like high-end units. And these are not high-end, but they're definitely very useful. This is why money is so useful for you right off the start. And unit replenishment. So, let's do this. We are going to spend almost $6,000 here. But it'll be worth it. Overwhelming range firepower and the ability with warp grinders to pin units in place. And the warp grinders can attack walls and have armor piercing. They'll be able to do significant damage, and we'll have a good stack of troops going here. We'll take... Shattered Cove is closer, but I don't much like the idea of being that close to Lizardmen and Malice Darkblade right off the bat yet. Be nice to have a little barrier, so we are going to make our way to Pigbarter, which, according to the legendary Spiffing Brit, is the most powerful town in the entire game. This province right here is the most powerful thing ever. We're going to claim it all for ourselves, but we're going to make Pigbarter our next target. So now we end turn. So, going back to Shadowrun and Cyberpunk and everything, there was a detail that came to mind, and it was just kind of the nature of Cyberpunk and how it came about. One of the things that many of you have probably noticed with Cyberpunk is that Japan gets featured a lot. There's almost a Japan-centric kind of focus to it. And there's a reason for that. You know, late 70s up to through around mid-80s, the auto industry in the U.S. really took some massive hits, and it's a massive period of economic decline, especially, you know, with the Rust Belt happening, the auto industry just utterly collapsing and causing things to just really fall apart and creating economic distress for people. But at the time, Japan was hitting an economic boom. Their technology was just exploding, so their businesses were expanding. Their auto industry had just taken giant leaps and bounds. It's part of what affected the American auto industry. They had a hard time competing with it. They did it better, faster, and cheaper. The basics of capitalism. And so Japan saw this economic boom and they just seemed utterly dominant. especially on the technological front. And that's kind of what fueled a lot of the ideas behind cyberpunk settings, especially all the ones that focus on mega corporations forming, mega corporations that had this extreme political influence, basically through the might of their capital and their ability to leverage economic interests all on their own. Absolutely staggering and stunning. And not only that, you add in just the level of fear, anxiety, and just racism that, for better or worse, definitely worse, but just exists in the U.S. and throughout U.S. history. You saw a lot of people begin attacking Asian people in the United States. Like, there are stories of Chinese people or Korean people being assaulted because, oh, it looks close enough to Japanese to them, and people just started attacking them, destroying Japanese cars, any Toyotas, Hyundai, is that Japanese? Oh, goodness. But anyways, you get the idea. Toyota, any Japanese vehicles, they just started demolishing them, smashing windows. Like, there was definitely some unrest and some very awful things that were fueled by that anxiety and that economic downturn in the United States. But again, and then you have Ronald Reagan, who was definitely very much a pro-business minded person, and also had some strong views regarding lower class people, and also some very racist ideas about other people, about black people, about, foreigners and the like. Like, he started the whole myth of the welfare queen that, provided no evidence for, no basis of. It's like, if you know this woman and she's collecting VA and unemployment checks from like 10 different husbands and has a six-figure a year salary, why hasn't she been arrested for fraud and had her face plastered all over the national news? It never happened. But anyways, all of that comes together to put together a fairly bleak outlook for the future. And you have government that is actively serving business interests over the interests of the nation at large and people. You have the severe economic downturn, Japan rising as this dominant technological and economic force. And Shadowrun alone has, Japan, for the setting, has 3 of the top 10 megacorporations in the world located in their nation. And they're not number 1, but still in the top 10. The three of the 10 seats for AAA rated megacorporations. That's huge. I mean, Saderkrupp is the dominant one. It's number 1, and Lofweir Dragon is the sole owner and CEO of the company as well. Eliminated his competition not only through his business efforts, underhanded schemes, but he also devoured them for daring to take anything from his hoard. Absolutely wonderful setting put together, like compelling, engaging, and very exciting setting to read about. Sorry, I started talking so much and not doing much with the game here, but that's kind of the origins of cyberpunk. It's why it focuses on a technologically advanced oppressive society that typically features megacorporations, because capitalist society, capitalist world, it's the corporations with the technology and economic means of doing all of these things. And in Shadowrun's case, they also have the military and legal might to back all of this. So, like Renraku, one of the top Japanese corporations, has some of the most feared special forces in the world, the Red Samurai. Absolutely terrifying bunch. Like, if they show up, if even one of them shows up on a run, you need to run away from them. And if you take down a Red Samurai, well, you better hope all your efforts at changing your identity and all of that pan out, because if they catch you, and they will catch you and find you, it's going to be terrible for you. But you'll make a name for yourself in the process, so you go out a legend. Let's see here. Attacking Pig Barter, Decisive Victory. They don't have a lot of ranged units, but I like the idea of my Warp Grinders keeping themselves together better and longer. Yeah, we'll auto-resolve this one. I'm not a fan of always auto-resolving, but this will go well enough. Let's see here. Can't eat, but we will claim it for ourselves. Food and occupy, level 2 settlement, have room to expand and build, and look at that. Bonus 5,000 treasury, whirl of weeping blades, killed 1,000 enemies in battle. Ah, Snitch, you are a terrifying force. Ooh. Knights of Calidor. They'll be a problem. They get dragons. And not just dragons, but legendary dragons. So, I'm gonna need to act quickly. Decisions. Let's go with Armor of Darkness. We'll be dealing with some ranged attackers soon if everything goes according to plan. Rubbish Pit. Recruitment costs and local armies. Yeah, let's do that. And also bonus monies. Growth, ferocious plants, casualty replenishment rate. Yeah, I think I like the sound of that. Be nice to get the bell unlocked, but that's gonna have to wait for a time. Doo-da. Let's unlock technologies for you and me. Hey, I'm sorry. I could do that a little too much, too long. Won't claim it's well. Ooh, do I want to unlock a chieftain? Let's see, fleet-footed, so it's fast, perceptive. Ooh, magic item drop chance. I like that, but that's not great in this instance. Oh my. Upkeep costs reduced for Warp Fire Thrower, Warp Lightning Cannon, and Doom Wheel units. Those are very powerful units that I plan to have in all these armies. The only thing is, do I want him embedded in Snick's army? I kind of want to leave things freed up. Let's see, spread public order, discover undercities, damage settlement walls, wound heroes, block armies. The block army effect is worthwhile, and he can be embedded in other armies later. I think having him ready to go will be a very useful and worthwhile thing. Reducing upkeep costs will be very, very important for those units. Those units are expensive, because right now, let's see, 175 per turn, so reducing that by 12% will be very handy indeed. Even if I don't have many of them to begin with. So, we'll link them up next turn, and go down to the Shattered Cove, and then start fighting what's left of the Lizardmen and Malice Darkblade. Have a strong, stable base to work from. Alright, things are coming together. But yeah, that's kind of what fuels a lot of the cyberpunk-oriented kind of setting. That's the background and backdrop in which a lot of these games got written up in. I mean, the game Cyberpunk 2013. That's what a lot of that was based in and built around. They also feature Arisaka, the Arisaka Mega Corporation. It's a Japanese corporation, and it is a technologically advanced world and society. They provide incredible security services, so they have access to a lot of places, and there's just so much going on with it that just lends to their economic, political, and military dominance in the world for that setting. There are other major corporations, like mega corporations like Militech. I'm blanking on the others, but I'm not as familiar with Cyberpunk, unfortunately. Although Mike Pondsmith seems like a really, really cool guy. I'd love to run a game for him at some point, if I ever got to be so lucky. Alright. Let's see what the upkeep looks like on these guys now. 170 to 154, perfect each. So, that saves me a fair bit of monies. And we're closing in on them. This is gonna go very well. I'll get a port next. That'll be great. Ooh, and then I can slip out and see what's on the Skull Reef with the Lord. Excuse me. Fortress of Vorag and Darkhold. The Itza tribe has been encountered. Let's see what my
Relations
diplomacy
with
options
foreign
look
powers
like.
may be managed through diplomacy.
Ooh, that's a dwarf clan. They are not
Consider your
gonna...
situation carefully before
They only
accepting
like me
any
because I was
agreement.
attacking the Red Cloud in any way, shape, or form. Historically,
Come then,
well,
messenger.
at
Speak
least
out your
in the
words,
lore
so I
for
can...
these games, the dwarves do not like Skaven, and they should, in theory, never ever consider
beyond
allying or trading with me. Same for the elves. Huh. I don't really have a lot of options here. There's the Rictus clan nest, but I will probably lie to and to betray them, just because that's what Skaven do. I'm not interested in maintaining a high reliability. It's probably to my detriment, but I like to roleplay with these. If I ever play dwarves, I don't make any alliances or peace treaties or trade agreements with any of the orc or goblin factions, none of the Skavens. Elves only under great duress. Empire pursue all the treaties and trade agreements with all the Empire factions. But none of the traditional enemies of the dwarves. What was it? Oh yeah, Cyberpunk and Shadowrun and the genre as a whole, Mike Pondsmith, all of that. That's a lot of what fuels why the cyberpunk genre is the way it is. It's kind of similar to how the Cthulhu mythos came about, and it was a take on science fiction that dove into cosmic horror and was much less hopeful about humanity's technological and knowledge-based future, about the revolutions that would come about because of that. Everything was looked on as like a golden age of the future, but then you get the author for all the books for the Cthulhu mythos. Why am I blanking on his name? Goodness, it's probably because it's 3 in the morning right now.
Lord.
Yeah, that's how much I've been working and doing stuff here. Not H.R. Geiger. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft had a very much more bleak outlook for humanity's future and its place within the cosmos, whereas a lot of sci-fi at the time was very, very hopeful. Things go cyclically like that, though. Things got hopeful again, but then you had Frank Herbert writing Dune, and Dune comes around in the 60s or so, definitely an aftermath in the wake of everything that happened with World War II. His big fear was the cult of personality and everything, and how that can all spiral out of control so fast. But then, things got hopeful again, and then get to the late 70s, mid 80s. We're in the midst of the Cold War still. Tensions are high, but it's nearing its end, but nobody knows that yet. With the Cold War, then all the economic downturns and all those awful things happening as Japan rises economically with its, explosive technological dominance on the world stage. I mean, yeah, it all becomes... You can see how all the pieces kind of fall together, because whether or not that's what the writers were necessarily focusing on, I am inclined to think that they were, but that still tells you a lot about what influence they're writing on when they're working on those stories, those situations, putting together these dystopian worlds. Let's do sneaky scouting on the Fortress of Vorag with Zapspark. There, now I can see that province and see what they're up to. Ooh, they're fighting dwarves, it looks like. Maybe.
Master of magic.
Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. But I do need to deal with them. Okay. That's done. But yeah, like I said, you can see how all those pieces are coming together, how it just builds and comes together and makes this very unique look through the lens of sci-fi at humanity's future. And something Mike Pondsmith said in regards to cyberpunk is that it was not something to aspire to, it was meant to be a warning. And it's a warning that, it's based on context, and the overall tone of what he'd written and said was not one that's hopeful for our current situation, because he included a lot of stuff about how the state of the environment is. I mean, if you've played Cyberpunk 2077 at all, I mean, you look at the advertisements for all the different food, it's like, contains 40% real protein, real meat. It's like, that's terrifying. Let's see. Alright. Let's dive in and attack these bastards. Let's attack this outside army. Not that this settlement has walls, but...
Sneak.
I want their troops to have to run in and get tired. We're gonna auto-resolve just to the hell of it here. And we're gonna eat and replenish. That'll be the most benefit for us. Let's see. Objectives. We have completed 3 out of the 5 here. Need to destroy the Red Cloud. Need to follow up on 3 missions. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten a whole lot of missions so far.
Ashen strike move. Ashen kill.
Let's see here. Corruptive, dictatorial. I'm not a fan of either of those. Ancient cunning to improve ambush success chance. That makes sense, but income from looting is probably going to be more beneficial and still makes sense for Skaven. So we will go with that. Serving in an army right now, and he'll have enough skill points to build up for this stuff. So for now, we're going to go with tail weapon, boost his combat abilities. We'll produce a more meaningful benefit for us in the meantime. Occupy settlement at level 2. Just doing that also makes our settlements a little bit less vulnerable. Not that we can really do much against an army of elves. Our settlements aren't going to be able to hold that back. But it is very literally better than doing nothing. And here, we're going to do a hidden lair so that we can recruit an assassin. And lo and behold, we have a commandment available. We can go with exploitative planning, generating 2 food and 3 Skaven corruption in the local province, or recruitment costs down by 5% and increase our recruitment capacity. Expansionist planning, construction costs of minus 10% for all buildings and plus 20 growth, or efficient planning, plus 3 public order and plus 2 untainted for the local province. We're going to go with expansionist planning just to save on costs and fuel our growth. So that way, we can get these provinces built up faster, better. Because as it is, we're going to go a little bit too slow, and we definitely need to build up our food surpluses just so we can, well, get more growth, public order, and better leadership ratings. Now, the question of, do I want to take Skull Reef or start attacking the Itza tribe? Looks like they're doing a great job holding off Malice. Definitely want those ports, but so worried about what the elves are doing here. At least it looks like pretty certain that they're fighting the dwarves. There's Imric. That's their legendary lord. They got 2 armies that they're fielding. What is my power standing? 87. Not very high.
The dragon
Where's
shall wake.
36. Doesn't necessarily mean that they'll beat me. If I can fight these armies piecemeal, I'd pick them apart, especially right now. But I don't want them together, and I definitely don't want to try fighting them in the siege, because their archers have great range and deal good damage. Not as good as the wild elves, but still enough of a pain that I don't want to be dealing with that yet. Not without some proper siege engines to bring overwhelming firepower to bear. And I want some contracts here. Ooh, do I have a contract? I have a contract. It's with Clan Pestilence. That's not ideal. Spy on Clan Molder. Ooh, Clan Molder makes rat ogres. That's not ideal. It's food and money, though. And this is the one that's going to take my sorcerer out for a little bit, I think. Next council contract in 8 turns.
Shadows hide.
I need to do it, though. Action successful. My reputation is up, so that unlocks level 2 contracts on better terms with them. And recruitment costs for Plague Claw catapults is down. That is actually handy. Plague Claw catapults are very nice, and are probably should be one of the first siege units I get access to. I don't think I get siege units here, but Rattling guns, Warplock Jezziles, Deathglow Bombardiers, all these wonderfully horrific things. Well, we'll end that turn. I think one more turn, and I will probably end it here. Let's just... Oh. Man, they are beating the piss out of the dwarves over there. I'm going to be dealing with an economically strong Imric. I don't want the Dragons of Kalador to be strong. Neither do I want a strong army of Lizardmen or Dark Elves on my southern flank either. South and west are a mess. North, I don't remember there being much up north this way here. Action encounters Haggrave. Well, I spoke too soon. They took Red Rock, but this is...
Night Lord.
I think Skull Reef's going to have to wait. We need to move fast.
Down below.
If I can put
I bring
Malice down after he's settled Red Rock, they're going to be rebuilding fast. But they are not going to have a lot of strength on their side yet. Ooh, and I can recruit an assassin. Oh. No more. We're losing food. That's unfortunate. Warpstone Hoarder. That's nice. Ooh, that might be better. What's down here? Cunning. Poison attacks and ambush success chance for local armies. That's actually pretty nice. That upkeep bonus is good, but I'm going to need an assassin that is picking off enemy units, although the troop replenishment is nice. Keep your armies going faster, harder, and better. But I can also assault enemy army units and garrisons. You know what? I'll go with the one that has sharp teeth. Probably shouldn't have recruited him over there. Should have gone with Pigbarter, but that's okay. We'll move him over. Successful assassination attempt. Wound or kill against one character. 2,000 treasury. Alright. Well, let's get you moving over there. And end turn. I know I said one more turn, but we'll get this going here. Oh, damn. Alright. This will have to be the last turn, but it has been fun. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's just see which way Malice moves here, and that'll dictate what I do next. I think I might just have to play this campaign more or less exclusively to upload here to YouTube. Maybe even live stream it at some point, assuming I don't cock that up somehow. Okay.
Deathbringer.
He's not in range for me to just go and attack.
Tyrant of the Hand.
That's very unfortunate.
Thief in the venomous night.
Oh, he's moving to keep on beating the crap out of them. That's not great. I'm really gonna have to move quick here.
Lord of the Assassins.
Oh, treaty penalties. What a shame.
Advance. Advance.
Oh, that Dawnstone's pretty ideal. 15% physical resistance for
By the Lord,
damage.
murder.
That's actually very good. Oh, wow. We're not far off from having a revolution, but we are increasing our public order. Thank God for that. Or rather, I should say, thank the Horned Rat for that. Yes, yes! Okay. Well, I'm going to end it here. I have been Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. I hope you've enjoyed the gameplay and my ramblings. Let's see here. Deathmaster, Sword Saint. It's just a handle I've gone by for everything since, gosh, I must have been 12. I like the idea of the Sword Saints. But I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and even if you didn't, go on down there and hit the dislike or like button, and if you're new here to the channel, hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. For now, I've been your host, Jordan, Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.